Do you not know the dog we've had there 4 years?
I know.
No, it doesn't sound like you do. Sorry.
Or yes, rather. But let's see if I can manage to step over it without. We're live.
Okay, now I'm used to hosting these without any interruptions other than the thingies. Whoops. Other than the come on, the comment, the comments. Now, which is an interesting, possibly sign. Now, no, but speaking of signs, I still haven't decided. So I did it the way that I meant to do it. So this is again what wing unit looks like. You know, I'm pretty good at it. Just like you know. Okay, this is finally loaded. I do want to see this. So,
Songs about indecisiveness.
I don't like those ones.
Okay.
There's got to be more.
The song's about having so many, I don't know, so many choices that it's wonderful, because a boy likes choices.
Okay, it's a tough. Oh, sorry, it's still early here. I am feeling a little bit kind of flooded in various directions. One thing I do feel like I do have decided is that there's a song I might do, two, perhaps, that I might do in this, and but only if, I mean, other people can be here, but only if a certain couple people are here, because they inspired it, essentially.
Aren't you able to tag people in these videos?
Well, that's something I wondered. There's a couple of things I wondered about chat. In fact, possibly three now when you mentioned that. But I know I've looked at that before, and I don't think so. Plus, it's weird. It's really odd. I don't. That's one thing I wondered. If maybe more like in comments, but I'm pretty sure. I know in description. And I can only see the live chat while I'm rolling, so
it's YouTube, not Facebook.
Where's that one we were just watching? Let's try it there. Although I think I have in the past. Okay, there was a couple things I wanted to look at here. So there's an option to go channel. That's nice. Although he had no content, it says. Okay, maybe that's why. Although it should have found something for summer. Go to channel. That one, if as close as you can get to whatchamacallit. Have to ask him about that. No, not that I'm seeing. Super sound. There's no sun in there. Summer. Super sound from 70s. He's like, right, talk about me. No.
What's these?
Huh. Okay, so I'm feeling that feeling again. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling. They're apparently okay. Basically, if you can't tell yet, I'm feeling a little bit here and a little bit there. I just started this. I just set this up, although there's nobody watching. Part of me thinks, no, I do still want to just be watching stuff, but you're probably almost.
I am.
How almost?
This last one.
Okay. That was fast. You get good at it, I guess. Whew! Even with that on, I'm winded. So I might need you, and I might need other people saying stuff. Okay.
I can say all sorts of stuff. I know all sorts of words like anti-disestablishmentarianism or even super anti-constitutionalistically.
I wish I was comfortable doing that with Eva, but maybe it's better. But then if I'm see it. But I mean, well, that one that I was going to show you, it was inspired by and kind of helped by. I keep on saying Bryson Colton, but at the same time, it wasn't about him. But I don't know. yeah, for some reason my lungs don't feel fully awake yet. And I know there's a breathwork thing. This and that. I will say this may or may not be the best our best podcast, but maybe it'll get there. Huh?
It'll get
there. And it's okay.
Our podcast is okay. Your podcast is okay.
Our podcast is great. Your podcast is still okay. I was kidding. Sorry. But anyway, sorry.
That was a joke.
So, and I'm so tired. I can't sleep. Leaning on the edge of something must do. Anyway. Oh my goodness. Honey, when you say so much. Oh, the outdoors are hearing this.
The outdoors aren't hearing us.
We can't associate. Did not say a word. And I will remember you. But like it's here now. How long will he be here for? How long will he must be here for? Remember me.
Beautiful summer morning away
from
me outside.
I thought you were gonna say something about my voice. Okay, quit leaning in because I'm not used to this kind of.
Oh,
people are gonna.
It's meant to be humorous.
I know, but it's kind of awkward.
Okay. I'll stop.
But anyway, I don't know. I'm mixy again, but just don't say the pot. Unless there's something good in it, in which case share it. That was what's the word? Metaphorical. Can you turn that? Well, then I'm not going to feel it as much, but it's really getting to my sensitive nose at the moment. Not that I use. Sometimes I have a sensitive nose, sometimes I don't, and I never knows when.
I don't think it can really be.
Yes, you've done it before.
You want me to turn it so it's not blowing on you so much?
I think so. Because even with the fan off, and yeah, I don't know. There was a nice breeze coming through the door, but at the same time, we both also felt like it's mostly warm air, or it's like it's still stuffy. We're just not meant to save money because it was now darker in here. So now we got the light on. We got all the things running, essentially. And that's the other thing. The dog's been really good about doing this. I haven't been up that long, and I'm kind of slow in the morning, but I didn't realize that I was going to feel so quickly tired. And I haven't taken anything. Not these, that's for sure, which might be true. In which case, yeah, I wouldn't. You've left something down here, just so you know.
Oh, what? Okay. I'll be back.
Oh, what? Okay, I'll be back. Oh, what? Okay, I'll be back. Oh, what? That is one I want to show him because the tune. I know there's a lot of music out there, and I've heard a lot of music, and I don't mean to say, oh, mine is more special than any other tune out there, but the tune was neat. Maybe it's just, it was on the piano that I saw the other day. Maybe it's just that, for me, it was a chord pattern that I don't do very often. And I have been kind of exploring that a little bit, but mostly I do the same chords. But I really want to be doing more with this one idea because I think it's pretty cool. Well, if I had something I really wanted to focus on saying, I haven't had anybody at the top. When they're chatting, it's a welcome distraction. When they're not, if they stay for a while, enjoy, that is cool. But, it's nice to know what they're thinking. And I can't recall. Oh, I would have been able to focus quite well, but my brain is still waking and waking. No, just kidding. And no, I don't still don't. What else? I don't know. Huh. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I think I am going to put, I don't know. It doesn't look like that's been moved, but yeah, I do feel it less strongly, and now I'm warm. I tell you. And I blame the anemia. Or maybe my immune side be missing. No offense. No offense. I know that it's probably stressful to experience it, especially as often as those that experience it would. So. Just standing there. Hey. Taking a few moments to kind of slow down is all right. Nobody's here, so even though people can watch afterwards, we just gave them about 7 or 8 minutes of content, which is some people's attention span. You know what I mean? I'm not meaning to be rude. Like I get the ADHD thing. I get the all the distractions that there are. Are you gonna be going to the back or what? Huh? Okay, good. Well, you're gonna need a bunch of my calling on just a moment. People are people, aren't they? And they can be so. I mean, I can't. I mean, if I keep bring the thing up with me, then I can kind of keep going and keep at least the audio part happening. But it's best when it's both. It's also good for me to give myself a little bit of a rest sometimes, and for that matter, perhaps you, even if you enjoy the content. So, but I was just thinking, if I'm speaking but I'm off screen, at least I'm still speaking, and I think I'm hearable because I can speak loud. But no, so I get it. But and I don't even remember why I was just mentioning it. There was a reason, but but there is a part of me. I don't know how much longer I'm going to make this one. Well, it's going to be the balance, even though it's a nice day, and it may or may not be sunny all of it. It's going to be that balance of being inside, doing stuff online in general, and outside. Because it's good to try and achieve balance as best as we can in life. And it's kind of a natural way of being as people. Whether you want to call it balance or just taking rests or well, taking rests and doing something else could be two different things depending on what the something else is, I suppose. But it's all important, right? But there's a part of me that just wants to do other things online because, even though I'm often winging it and I don't necessarily, I have a base idea. The base idea with this one, and I know it's something as a content creator, I think I am learning a bit, but at the same time, I also said in the title that I can come up with topics myself too. Happy when other people are suggesting, but so it's just sometimes easier than sometimes I can better than other times, I guess. And right now, there's certainly a part of me that's thinking, wrap up and do other stuff on the device. Then there's a part of me that's saying, you've only been rolling 14 minutes. This hasn't gotten to its. This hasn't gotten to all that it can be, into its best, is what I was going to say. But some of it's been okay, as we said earlier, and to keep rolling because It's kind of windy out, which is better than there being no breeze. But I don't know. I'm not super drawn to being outside, but I'm not either. and this is something I'm noticing a few times this morning, and I've only been up for a couple hours, or less than a couple hours, a little less than a couple hours. But I know that there have been also many times where I've thought about wrapping up, and then somebody tunes in, sometimes as I'm saying it or as I'm about to. And, whether they are going to be the ones that just stay for a few seconds and then either intend to come back or decide too quickly that they may not want to. Again, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and nobody is. But I think that, I know that I get along with most people, and I would like to think that most other people are the same way. And so therefore, but again, I can't make anybody, and they have their reasons. So, but it could be somebody that I'm familiar with or not familiar with that wants to chat, or at least sit and listen for a while. I know my preference, but they're both good. So, which is semi-ironic. So, if I was to end it now, nobody's here, and it's a bit shorter. But again, as I said last night, I do understand the getting into the mode. He was going to, has other things wants to do this morning, especially since, it's supposed to rain tomorrow and all that. But was kind of getting into the idea of being in the podcast, and and I didn't want it to come across like I didn't want him to. It's just most of the time when I do this, he's at work, and even with the ADHD, I'm able to focus. And if it was to incorporate him, I'm a little bit more inclined to say musically, which would be great if Emmy tuned in, or possibly Tim. Not that they're the only people that like music, but they are. No. Actually, Emmy is kind of musical. I'm tempted to ask you to get the lights, camera action. But
you want me to turn off this
but
light?
I know earlier I found it dark, but it's not like it's not sunny out. That's the other thing I was going to say. That's what I was saying when I was briefly not in the room, but you may have heard me. Is it's interesting how people are different, like in how they define things that you think are easily definable, like is it sunny or not. But I know what he means is like, are the rays bouncing off my glistening body, or is the sky just bright, kind of thing, right?
The sky is just bright at the moment. The sun is
that's and then there's photos. He's eating that thing, so you don't necessarily have to bring him, because if he wasn't, it's one or the other. I don't want him to have that thing.
He wants to come out.
Yeah, but I don't want him to have, I give him it so he's quiet.
Oh, I see.
And if he's out there, whether he's quiet or not, I don't care. But he's got the thing. So, yeah.
Because actually, you do care if he's quiet when he's outside. If he starts barking, you won't be able to hear it inside.
Well, the door's going to be closed. But also, okay, whatever. They're in short supplies, especially the big ones. But however, it isn't exactly motivating. And this is just how this one's going. But I think that's kind of like the one last night. And it would have been very interesting. There was somebody that had given a like, and I think, from what I gathered, it was to the fact that I was considering doing some music. Whether they've heard me do music or not, they're like, ooh, I might like that, and did. To be fair, I think there was 2 people there, but at the time, it may have been not just a few minutes after that the other person came. And then my device, not this one, the other one was wonky. Truth be told, I was tired. I commented underneath it if the person happens to see this one this far in and wonder what happened. And so I never did do that. I also said the other day it would be good if I tried to incorporate at least one song in the music. I'm thinking of, or in the video, I'm thinking of one, and maybe she'd come and hear it afterwards, and I could maybe even have it. but I'd rather her catch me while I'm alive, perhaps. But and it's if that place is where we think it is, then it's 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4 a.m. or p.m. in England. There was somebody briefly there. And like speaking of time zones, it's like it is 4 a.m. here, and I got to get to sleep. I don't think you swap the a.m. for the p.m. So from Canada to England, it's 10, 11. It's just a few minutes. It's actually 11 minutes after 10. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. 2 a.m. and it wasn't my season. I could never go to the table. Breathe, just breathe. That's a good way to incorporate the music. My mind is very much because I'm musical and abstract and such. There's a word, but art paint paint. Any hoozles. And my mind can make connections pretty easily like that and think of songs. So snippets are okay too. I mean, full songs are great, but maybe there's something about the full song I wouldn't want to do. But and you know what? Talking about time zones really isn't even a topic. I feel like because it is a topic, but because some people have sleeping difficulties or at certain times in their life for whatever reasons. And so, sure, it's 4 a.m., but that doesn't mean that she might not tune in. And either wake up her husband or not, or maybe she has headphones. I've never seen her use any, I don't think, but she's got, actually, yeah, I've seen her hair bigger, and then she braids it. Okay. But, so we'll see. But especially when there's nobody here, but even when there is, it's kind of like, there's the reminders, and this is what I mean. This is what people, or a lot of people mean when they're talking about breath work or whatever, that kind of stuff. Is like, some people hear it and they're like, I breathe all the time. I don't need to be told to breathe. But there's something, whether it's outdoor air or indoor, there's something refreshing about, or there's something fulfilling about doing it. I don't know whether I'd say we breathe shallow or not shallow when we're speaking. I did hear something recently. Some meditations kind of annoy me because they say out through the mouth. I'm going to breathe out how I feel is natural. Thank you. And apparently, I heard that there was a study. I don't remember a lot of details, but that it is more natural. I mean, obviously, you're breathing when you're talking, and your mouth, unless you're a ventriloquist, is open when you're talking. But unless you're stuffed up, and have a cold or whatever, it can be more natural for whatever reason to breathe through your nose. So, but no, it's especially if you've been talking for a bit or you're stressed out. Can you get an ear infection from your vocal cords? Because I feel like there might be some sort of canal that's connected. So I'm putting my health on the line for you guys. Not that anybody's here right now to care, but but that's a very interesting concept if we get somebody tuning in. Welcome. I was just saying how I'm putting my health on the line in some ways, whether it's holding or whether it's kind of trying to ignore something my body's telling me to do. And the viewer's like, well, that's stupid. Then you dummy. Bye-bye. Because they did leave. I don't know. They may have thought that. They may not have. And we could sit here and say that it's stupid. And I might not. I might somewhat agree with that. But I want to wait till there's somebody here and try and hold this thought until there is. It's weird that that comment that I put. I had a typo that I wanted to fix. That I cared to fix. No, it's not that. It's not that. But there was a typo. I fixed it. I took out one comment. It sort of retracted, and now it's completely disappeared. Just a moment, please. Even though the thing's on, I'll continue that fresh air until you started. Okay. Oh. No, I mean, let's say it is, I'm so particular. I'm such a particular perpendicular. I was kidding. It's like, I don't like it without a breeze, but I don't like it if there's too much of a breeze. No, I mean, sometimes I'm just sensitive to it, I think. And it might be the anemia. I don't know. If it's a warm breeze, then it's not really a breeze that's doing much other than blowing things around. Right? So, but no, I do want to touch on that other part. What was the specific thing, though? Oh, right, that. I don't usually end up drinking a full cup of coffee all at one these days, and this is a bigger-ish cup. But I don't really drink tea either, and it's again that indecisive feeling. Oh. Huh. Some people may think that is how it's spelled. I mean, I've been thinking of topics, but it's interesting that I finally decided to list some 27 minutes in, some ideas. And it's good to send it through, otherwise it might not. I don't want to be away from the screen, but I do. I wish that there was somebody here right now who was engaging and having a good time, and because that's when, even though other people may tune in, that's when it feels a bit more comfortable if I need to step away for a moment. Not because of, what's happening necessarily, and hopefully not, hopefully, doing these, will always feel hard to pull myself away from, because that means that I'm enjoying doing them as I am, and that you're enjoying them too. But when somebody else is there, even if they're only kind of familiar with you and they're enjoying it, they're more understanding of you. Like, possibly I've lost some potentially good viewers because I've done that, and especially during a live, and it's harder, if even possible, to kind of, do much about that, except not doing it. I understand that, but sometimes there's a need. And to follow my own advice. Breathing also helps to slow you down, regulate your system, all right? And to be honest, I think it's a fairly big part as to why so many people smoke. Even if smoking isn't healthy. And I'm late 30s. I'm a deep thinker. I'm a late bloomer and an old soul. I don't know. It's like I realize some things quickly and some things I'm surprised I don't realize quicker. And that's one of them. Like I've only kind of had that realization for about 3 years, 3 or 4 years. Or at least verbalized it into words. Where are the Ryans at and all the other smokers? And the smoking. And sometimes these get long because I keep having thoughts of people come in. Getting back into posting on YouTube, it's interesting because, you know, it's you're always kind of learning and deciding different things, to kind of, you know, try and even habits to try and get into. Like I don't want to force myself to do anything or to too strongly into certain habits. But I mean, like even if it's just singing a little bit of a song here and there, I think it's happened at least once, possibly 2 or 3 times in this. It's kind of like, you know, um, it's like it's fairly likely to happen, and so talking about kind of just being very kind of uh, flowing with it, flowing with things and winging it, bringing it. That's another word. It sounds like we know, but anyway. People are gonna be like, "What's wrong with those?" I mean, I use them all the time, and I think they're cool, and they remind me a little bit of this thing. And I was like, "How do you know what happened?" Coach, I don't even know. I don't even know. I have a rough idea, but oh my goodness gracious, and my gracious goodness. And sometimes it's switching Richard gears. Hey, why is that blue instead of purple? What's up at night? That would be cool if he knew her very well, but he didn't, so it's not cool. I guess he could have been one that liked it in the past. He's never been all that chatty. But it's kind of interesting where I've been led. And I'll be honest, I feel mixed about it too. On one side, I'm so happy, to be talking about my friend who passed away and kind of sharing what she meant to me and even kind of feeling her presence around. And well, we do these sometimes. At the other times, I think, that it sometimes does happen quite often. But you know what? It happens when it's meant to happen. And then I can do a few videos where it doesn't. But it is happening now. And I feel like it's telling me something too, because that's something I was just kind of thinking about. Do I want to do every video? And mostly I'd be able to. I mean, I do have routine somewhat, mostly, and I do have schedule, and I have to consider my energy. And in fact, I haven't been feeling, I had almost a little bit of an itch in my throat, and my ear was being a bit distracting. And actually, if I turn this way and show her from a distance, that is the same size that her hair is kind of, she's like, my hair's sticking up? No. guess he was going to start the music. So, and you should too, buddy. She says you should too. She says you're right. You have no shortage of topics and great things to say and songs to sing. And I'm here for you, buddy. But if you want something even more tangible, and if you want, likes and comments, usually there's more flashers at the top. I know that sounds funny, but anybody who podcasts will hopefully know what I mean by that. You didn't. Colton made you do it. But you know what, my friend? To so many people, including your late partner, and so many people, you're beautiful inside and out, and you look great down in that top. So, I mean, that was a funny and nice little moment we just shared. But I think I just wanted to make sure I had your attention. I don't have anybody else's. No, she's like, I had your attention. She says, they want you to listen to me for a moment. And if anybody else hears it, great. And if they don't, it's whatevs. But she says, and this is interesting because I don't use photos too very often when I do this. And, but I was taking 10 minutes. But, and I don't really need to with this person because I knew what she looked like. And that. But, she says it's okay to set goals. And you do your best to reach them, as everybody would. She says, it's only 10 o'clock. I thought it was 11. Anywho, she says that and we got to listen to the messages that are being said, and if they're helpful, see them as positive, see them as helpful, regardless of your beliefs. Don't take things so face value sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And she says, if you're up to it, because we can find other stuff to watch later, we just will. But right now we're doing this. And she says, 44, because I'm seeing a 44 here, is a fairly big number to strive for, while you're alive especially, but perhaps in general. But she says, if you want to try to get 4 and 4, or at least just 4 in one spot or the other, like, hurry up, people like this. I want this guy to stop podcast. Then I'm here for you. I'm here for it. Ironically. And can you bring some others in? Like, it's kind of rare that there's, like I said, of course, I haven't been looking consistently, and some don't stay very long, as I said, but I haven't noticed very much happening along the top. And how I came to looking at her picture today, and I've already thought of her a couple times as I was looking in messages. There was nothing new at the moment, but I was scrolling and I opened one and I'd sent this to somebody. What? Like how soon? She just told me that she's going to be here to meet G's sister when she passes. Be there when she passes away. And I know she won't be the only one. But, like, how soon? She's like, I don't want to freak you out. And, he's in a good mood, and he's just started doing what he's doing, and I don't really want to distract him. And sometimes in life we go through that kind of stuff where it's kind of like, there was a couple of nice calls, a couple of video calls, and a couple of other calls, or at least one other call, in the month of May or June. And sometimes, things unfold as they are meant to sometimes. I mean, and even though sometimes it might be hard, I'm not going to say that in all cases, but in a lot of cases, that does mean that you will have to find closure and healing, because something, especially like with a loved one passing, does not transpire in the ways that we hope, as far as like what happens before they pass. It says, I want to remember you. I know you mostly do, and I want to make sure that you remember me kind of looking like this, as I did when I was healthy, pretty healthy. You got it, sister. Your sister, I love her at the same time. Good golly, Miss Molly. Miss Ray. I had not expected this, but I guess that's why I'm podcasting. She's like, that I and the others are here if nobody else is. But she says, I get it. I think I get it, even in the form that I'm in now. She says, you want your podcasts to do well, and when they do, you're happier for it. And this has been a little quiet. Now, if we're going to go for the 44 mark, 1 minute 44 seconds is long past. 1 hour 44 seconds is long away. 44 minutes is coming up. Trying to figure out this image that I caught, the one above it, I guess. But this is what shows to me. I think I'm seeing a bit of a 5, but I'm seeing 44 reactions. And I feel like this number is telling me something. 8, 16. Who was it I was oh, right, that guy, but I didn't, it was a short video, I didn't fully press it, and I didn't comment it. He was doing math. I may have liked it, I can't recall. But the 44-minute mark is in just a second, but you know what? It's been great. I've enjoyed it. People are going to think, if this is, at this point, or if it's, much longer, they're going to think, okay, it doesn't look like anybody was here chatting, and he managed to, I guess, enjoy his own company. He wasn't even getting likes. And then I suppose there might be some people that are like, well, let's see what he's talking about. Maybe I'll chat with him. Or that intrigues me. Some people will say, oh, that he must just be so full of himself. He can roll for an hour or two. Although, there's at least usually indicators along the top. I don't know if it's just being wonky, as it has been a little bit sometimes lately, but sometimes it's not. And sometimes, like, within the same hour, But it is a little unusual how quiet it's been there. I was going to say it is the summer, but only in some places of the world. And not everybody's outside all the time. one person I know may be happy to be here, but it's kind of, I think she was kind of left work earlier, wasn't at work at all on Friday. But, I mean, that is still mostly facing this way. I don't know why I'm so warm. But she's kind of just starting to enjoy her summer now. I mean, kind of a couple weeks into it here, but anyway. Okay, well, we passed the 44 mark, so I guess we're aiming for 4 likes, or for, I don't want to say just 4 comments necessarily. If somebody's here and they're wanting to chat and comment, I don't want to stop them at 4, maybe 44, but I also don't want us to be sitting here counting either, so I don't know. And she's saying it's not really the number that's important, and even though everybody's all about having big numbers and you would like that, you know that you're okay with small numbers, but the quality and the greatness in the small numbers as well on this platform, she says. So, strive for a couple likes, strive for a few comments. We're here. And we hope you get them. But she says, but you should think about your health. I don't want. You know what? It's interesting that this came up the other day, and in one of my videos, but not quite to this point. And I'm going to set up a little scene. I'm feeling kind of creative. Didn't make the sign about being, lifetime free spirit, this and that. And I'm hoping that the picture's far enough away that you can't, that it stayed on it, I think, that people wouldn't be able to tell. And it's funny because I saw some videos kind of looking not like this, but kind of like this, but this kind of idea. Since I brought this down, and I know I associate it with whatchamacallit, but well, it's either that one or this one. Which one you want? Which one you want? Well, you said topic about carrying weight. This is heavier. Let's help people carry their weight. I mean, not like physical weight, but wow, look at that! Holy man! I think it gives the impression I'm kind of going for. And they're going to be, what the heck is that on this couch? Do I want to do anything more with it? My God. And, if people come in while I'm gone and they're processing this, then they're processing this, People be like trying to read that sign. It's like, what's that sign telling us? I don't want to read. I just wanted to show you, in case I don't ever get to. No. I don't ever get to show you for whatever reason or another. But look what just transpired.
What? Is that? Who's that?
Right.
Okay. What happened?
Okay, if you don't see what that looks like, then maybe. Anyway, okay, you can go back out now. It's weird. It's not like it's nothing that comes up. Not what happened. Okay. Scaramouche. Sorry, but well, that was.
Am I supposed to remind somebody?
Can you just? Okay. Sorry, I'm just the music, the dog, the music. Wow. talking about perception and this and that. And now I'm worried that the people might not find this as interesting as he'll probably get it as soon as he went out there. Oh, wouldn't that be something? Well, like I say, I think that we all have the ability. Um, something that makes me a bit anxious. But no, I'll hand him the stuff that I want to hand him. I'll fill the box. That's progress. As far as tomorrow, who knows? But watch him come back in a few minutes and be like, oh, you're not here. And then sure, keep him here and say something to him and him process it. And wouldn't that be, I mean, if he doesn't, he doesn't. But wouldn't that be something? I'll be right back. I can't fathom. If he doesn't get that, then, I mean, I might have to reevaluate. No. But I mean, seriously, how can you not get that? I'm so confused. And especially the way it's laid out, not like it's just. Like, if not, you're elegant and here. And if I'm trying, I'll be able to hurry up. Hurry up. Greatness is either happening or about to. Well, it ain't happening at the moment. So I guess it's about to. I did just realize something, but I mean, this was under the pillow. I don't kind of want to sit in front of it. Ah! Where's that mic? No, I don't want to be seen as, hey, eccentric is the word. Gifted, creative is the word. But it could be because for anybody that happens to tune into this point or that I kind of narrow into this point, it could be because he remembers her. Although I thought he's heard me plenty of times, kind of short form, nickname her name. He may or may not be having a hard time seeing that this is really essentially a blanket. But I think that's as close, except for in my mind's eye, as I'm going to be able to get to kind of seeing and accepting, as I do, since her funeral and a memorialized page and that. And wouldn't it be so ironic if one of her loved ones came in and be like, I think I know this person that you're talking about. But you know what? Well, I'll wait till it happens, and I'll address it in the moment as best as I can. She knows I'm not trying to be disrespectful to her or her family. And I think she'd like them to see it, but I guess we'll see. I'm still trying to process this. That this just kind of. Remember once I saw wings on like in light form long before she passed away. Well, somewhat long before. On a wall, not at our home actually. But it's interesting that this transpired on here. And I can look at it right here. Nobody's name is showing. I almost want to make this a permanent fixture, for goodness sakes. But it's kind of wouldn't work very well that way. It's a permanent fixture for the rest of this video, however long it is. I wouldn't mind doing some other things, then slowing down a little bit. She's like, well, then slow down a little bit. Nobody's here to, call you boring for doing so. If they've made it this far and want to watch further, then they're intrigued or like what they're hearing and seeing. I think you deserve to give yourself a little bit of time. And I hope that this is maybe I'll make this the thumbnail, but I hope it's the still, if I can figure out how to do that. Rainy day project, or maybe sooner if I really want to. But I'm guessing that I should know. Sometimes it seems to, sometimes it doesn't. Or is that a different platform I'm thinking of? Whether the videos move when you kind of put your well, more so on a laptop, I would think, or a computer, because I don't know if I've noticed that with the phone. You know what? He doesn't have some of those feelings that some people have. I'm surprised religious people and, people that, follow the media, which doesn't always accurately depict what this kind of thing can be like. But he doesn't, Steve did, yeah, but he doesn't really look at that kind of stuff. He probably knows that it exists, but because he doesn't look at it, and he knows the kind of work I do with it, or what it does for me, and occasionally maybe others, he's accepting of it, thankfully. Looks like we're heading for 144, or somewhere in the 44-second area, maybe. And take a bit of do a little bit of music. Okay, maybe. Oh, I clicked. At this point, mostly just for one reason. Are there lyrics in this video? I feel like there is. It's not. There's something in the description of this video I'm expecting to see. and not seeing. That I just pulled up. And that's also partly why it's a trigger. But she's like, you have this idea kind of, and I think you want to do it. And it could be very special. So why not do it? Let me just double check. Just checking something here if anybody tunes in. Is this the song? That's the only thing about doing this, is that I'm not going to know what it sounds like. This is still here, even if I do step away. I know I'm going from it, but you can go back to it. I know I'm also had to scroll to the more recent tabs because it was at the top ones, and I'm also I'm also but now I'm not seeing that song, so I'm so confused. She's like, regardless of what family you have or may not have, you do have us. Same with what viewers you may or may not have. And you have your musical skill. So the height is perfect. The texture, I'm not sure, but that did remind me of something. Good thing I caught that typo. That would have been really odd. But then she went. I mean, hers is a newer, kind of a newer channel. I don't know. It's can't remember details, but hmm. If anybody is wanting more content and they're like, you've been quiet for a few minutes, it's one of those rare times I'm not expressing out loud. And actually, my thoughts feel relatively still. You can skip ahead. We have somebody here. Welcome. This video has kind of ended up having kind of an interesting kind of setup, uh, or an interesting kind of, as you can see. And I'm just having a bit, and the viewer left. They're like, yeah, you don't have to state the obvious to me. I can see that. Really think I'm stupid. I mean, who knows? Some people will think like that. You know, is it time to maybe change this? Is this something that people are going to? And I think I just heard my answer. Unfortunately, I mean, it was like that for quite a while, but um, I briefly thought about her dad, but also it's that kind of thing. If that was obvious to people, whether they've lost somebody recent or not, I understand that grief can be one of those topics. Twitter said messages are missing, but there isn't. And some people, you know, struggle to sit with their feelings or accept losses. And I mean, I'm human. I have my moments where it's hard as well. But I'm just going to go with whatever is more because I do want to be watching top. Although it indicated may come in, but then I'm not going to want to go from where I scrolled. So. Wow. But as much as it kind of makes feelings kind of deeper, or it yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to rain anytime soon. Whatever you want to call it. I can work to some people's sensitivities, even though that means they're just at 3 in a row, though, a little bit, because I'm similar sometimes. And I would appreciate somebody doing it for me. Or with me. Just kidding. I said I wasn't going to scroll, so I'm not going to. I know that the indicator is, I don't know, is a little finicky to use, but it is true. Well, I don't know. I said that thing I said earlier about it being long but not very active. But at the same time, I also realized how else that could look, and I would see it that way too, to be honest, somewhat. So I don't know what to say. Let's try for 144, because then the next 44 is going to be, I think, 244, unless we're talking 44 seconds. Again, maybe I'm focusing too much on that number. Maybe I'm not, but. But it's interesting because I was just looking at a chat, and it wasn't sent. It was sent back in February, I guess. But I sent a video that I did on the weekend of the funeral with some songs to a certain to a connection I have, and I just kind of was randomly fell upon that, and I haven't been in that chat since then. Um, I know people say, well, for a while it was wonky. It's not that I'm not been chatting with people, but I mean, not maybe like, but it was wonky, or I don't know. Spending a lot of time on here and then other things. She has been a bit more quiet. The things that are said. And I think she did say that she was celebrating her mother-in-law's birthday today. I don't know at what time, but she might also be having things she's getting ready for that, whether other people also are or not. So I guess I kind of know with that one. Much as I'm enjoying this, it's kind of feeling a little bit pointless. I wouldn't mind eating something maybe. And this is either not the optimal time for podcasting, but really any time can be. Who was it that was talking about that? Was that who I think it was? Oh, right, that guy, right. Or people are just watching other stuff. So, but yes, it feels a little bit weird. I mean, there could be after people, but now we're 50 minutes in and there's nothing. I'd like to try and aim. I mean, there's no comments or reactions. I'd like to try and aim for some. And yes, we could say, okay, well, then I'm trying to make it happen. But so what? So what? Um, you know, and yes, it does. When you hover over it, it kind of moves the image about. I don't want to get too distracted and not be watching when somebody comes in. I mean, if I'm verbalizing things, then I'm doing something anyway. But I might have that reading face on, which may or may not. One thing I've noticed. Okay, I think that's telling me what to do next. Although I've already watched some of that. So one thing um, I've noticed that I didn't know I did was I do this with my tongue, which reminds me of Holly. Oh, right. It's actually vendoring at a market. That's what my friend is doing. Okay, just end as I did that. And I guess I don't know if I do it only when I'm typing or when I'm reading also. Well, I've slowed down some, but I think he's kind of, maybe ready for a visit out there. And it is, even though it's maybe a bit windy, it is my kind of weather. So I don't know. I mean, it's not like there wasn't anything enjoyable in this for me and hopefully others. Sometimes we got to do it for ourselves first, and then the rest follows, right? But I don't have that set up anymore. I do feel kind of I need to go upstairs briefly and then maybe, like, say, outside and then eat. So, and I know that my friend would say, even though that number may have been trying to tell you something, maybe you'll see it happen after, even though it is a big number. Or if we just want to see, like, the one number, if we want to see it a certain way instead of the number, uh, you know, twice, then that's fine too. Or whatever, Um, and now I think of it, and I know that there's a 13, and I'm at the ninth one. That title really does have me curious, even though it's short. That as well. Possibly that. Oh, that's that guy. And I do know, like, and then that. So I mean, yeah, and then also that, and maybe a bit of that, and a bit of this, and a bit of that. So it's not a fun feeling, is it, to feel like you're kind of being pulled in various directions and you don't know which one you want to take. And it's just I don't. I thought that one direction, that it was more strongly the things I said I wanted to do, but then I'm also feeling fairly decent. Up on my head, I don't know, fairly decent, and kind of wanting to keep rolling. This is where I can know the difference. I feel like I myself am telling, kind of saying, but she would too, and any of them probably would, that I can come back and do more later. Maybe those would be the ones that are, again, and the longer it gets, the more baffling, and people will feel mixed, that it's so quiet. So, so maybe this video is what it's meant to be, just this. And, as far as, like, comments and reactions, those are still welcome, of course. And then maybe the ones later will be better. Will be even more. And since that's open in the music playing, it's okay. I'm wrapping up, I think.